What is up, guys, and welcome back. Today I have a POE2 video for you. I wanted to run you through one of my builds. Uh, we're gonna just call it the God of War Lightning Physical Monk thing. Yes. As you can see down at the bottom here, we're using up to 6 skills. Not saying we're using all 6 skills, but up to 6 skills. I like to use basically all of the skills I can. That way, if I get bored of one, I can switch to the other. With 3 of these skills down here, you can full clear a map by using just one. We have the Whirling Assault. You can full clear the map with Whirling Assault. No problem. We have Tempest Flurry. Also, can full clear the map. No problem. And we have Staggering Palm. Same applies. Now, in our bottom section, we have our quote-unquote buff skills. So we have Tempest Bell. This just provides big damage bursts and amplifies any damage done by the top 3 skills. We have Charge Staff, same applies, gives extra damage to all of the top skills, and it will apply shock to everything. That is what we generally use it for. And our last one is the Mantra of Destruction. This is just a huge damage boost, especially if you're clearing packs of enemies. You tap it once, you tap the Whirling Assault. Usually the Whirling Assault will stack it up to 10 stacks, which will give you a ton of additional chaos damage. Now, we'll go into more on those skills in a bit. Quickly, let's run through the gear. I'm just gonna pretty much hover it. So here we have weapon, pretty basic, just a ton of physical damage and some attack levels and attack speed. You do not need a weapon this strong. You can buy a budget weapon, 400 physical DPS or so, and you'll still feel pretty decent. But as you can see, this is what I'm using. For the glove, this one's actually super important. It's being modified by the Fist of Stone perk, so let's see what that looks like without it. Basically, you want one with a flat stat, or both flat stats, unless you're using a single stat glove, so evasion or energy shield or both. Basically, you want a flat stat for those, and then you want the increased stat. This will give you the more multiplier when it transforms, and the flat damage, or the flat defense when it transforms. You want at least one add line, which will give you more damage of that type when it transforms. You want the reduced attributes. I personally take the reduced attributes because it gives me more stats, which requires me to have them elsewhere, or less elsewhere. And Chaos Res here, neither here nor there. You can leave it, take it or leave it, basically. And the last line is the actual important line, the 10% gain Arcane Surge when you deal a critical hit. This basically is what I use personally to generate my power charges. If you do not care about using a skill to generate your power charges, you can go that route. But I use the glove so that we can have the 10% chance to get a power charge on crit hit. And almost every hit we do is critical, so we always have power charges. So that's the glove. Our helmet here, we're using this unique helmet. We mainly are using this helmet just for the blind effect. Basically, since it's reverse, we get 20% more accuracy and evasion rating, which takes away the need to get a lot of it elsewhere. I'll give you just a quick example. So we're at 66 evasion here. If we take that off, huge chunk gone. It also gives us a small bit of armor, but neither here nor there. Just a quick and cheap defensive layer that many of you could probably afford. For our amulet, we went for a large spirit amulet with defenses and offense on the bottom. The main important part here is to make sure you have the spirit so that you can use all of the auras. Our rings, I went leech, as the build does eat a lot of mana. But the other stats are attack and some res, basically covering reses as you go. As you can see, the same goes on this one. Mana leech, damage, and covering reses. Boots, just a solid res and defensive boot. And same for the belt, defenses. So as you can see, a lot of these extra pieces are just covering defenses and giving a little bit of attack stats where needed. And again, here you want the spirit. I'm also allocating run and gun here just because I like having the additional projectiles occasionally, but you do not need to have that. With all of these items, you can see res is capped out, and I hovered anything, so if you want to look at any piece specifically, just go back in the video and look at that. For these things, nothing too special, just something I made on the go, never even changed it. And a mana flask, you're gonna need the mana flask, won't even lie to you. That's pretty much it for the gear. You will see my stats are all above 100. That is important. You will need your stats to be high, but we'll go through that in a moment. Next up, let's hit on the skills. So, as I told you before, I am using 6 different skills. I know a lot of people like to do one button builds, but I get bored of one button builds, so I use 6 different skills. So I have some additional skills here from the Ascendancy. So we use Hollow Focus and we use Hollow Resonance. In these, you just kind of put basically what you want. Here I have Coaling Strike, Maim, Overabundance, just to have another bell get spawned. We have Reduce cooldown to make more bells spawn quickly, and increase area so that, the Maim effect and the Coaling happen in a wider radius. Nothing too damage focused or specific here. On our Hollow Resonance, we also have increased area. We have the stun build up, cooldown recovery because it does have a cooldown. We increase crits on blinded people, and we do tend to use pinpoint critical throughout this build. So you do not need to use pinpoint critical, but it is a easy solution to get you a very high crit rate. I believe it's about 75 to 80. Yes, 75 without me fighting at the moment. If you are able to get a high crit rate without it, I recommend doing so, as you will have much more damage. But it was not necessary for me. So next skill, Mantra Destruction, basically just our buff skill. We have this one, Consume Corpses, if we're near them, to give more damage. We have skill duration because this will stack and it will last for a bit longer if you use this. We use delayed gratification. It'll make it harder combo wise to get the skill going, but once you get it up, you're able to hit it twice, which will give you 2 chances to get your stacks going. And then we have reduced movement speed penalty so that we can use it without getting slowed down too much. Simple. Next up we have Staggering Palm. I like Staggering Palm for 2 reasons. Basically, it does decent damage. So if you want to clear the map just using Staggering Palm, it is an option. I have done it. Second, once you do stagger an enemy with it, you get these Wind Blasts that come out, which are amazing. An amazing buff to all of your abilities down here. And you get, some free blind chance. So on this one, I generally run a lot of armor break. So here we have the Smelting, which after we fully break an enemy, we just do 5% more damage to them, up to 20%. We have our armor break node, or armor break support rune, which gives us endurance charges occasionally. We have, again, the pinpoint critical, just for the easy crit chance. +1 to physical skills, and more projectiles. You don't really feel the less damage here versus having the 2 projectiles, the 2 additional projectiles. It feels a lot better, trust me. And on mine, I have, run and gun, so I get even more projectiles from it. But the 2 is perfectly reasonable, and it feels good. Next up, our Tempest Bell. Just, a big damage boost. Use it to nuke bosses and whatnot. Here we use Rage Forged as our Welling Assault, and other attacks will give us Rage. We use the same delayed gratification. That way, as soon as you are able to use this, you can use it twice. repeatedly. We use heavy swing as the attack speed decrease doesn't really hurt you too much here. We use close combat because you have to be close to use the bell. And we use bleed just for some extra damage since it's going to hit hard every time you use it. Next up, our whirling assault. Again, pinpoint critical. We have attack speed. We have do more to bleeding enemies. So I put this here, but you can replace it. I tend to follow up my bell with whirling assault when I am fighting a boss. So I tend to have the 30% more damage for that one. I also use heft and rage. Rage 3. I like rage 3 more because you get the attack speed while you don't have the full rage stacks. And then if I choose not to use my bell, I will transfer this attack speed into 30% more damage. So it's pretty fair for me. Next up, charge staff. This is basically just our steroid. Here we get the extra attack damage as fire damage on critically hitting, which guaranteed to happen. We get an additional 15% as lightning damage when we kill a shocked enemy, which this will be shocking everything. We get some extra shocking effects here for both of these slots just to spread our shock effect around, which will be important for our auras down below. And we get blind on hit. Since it's going to be spreading the shock like crazy, we might as well let it blind as well, because it gives us the ability to take advantage of our our blind support gem that I showed you earlier. It'll pop up again, more than likely, but yeah, that's what we do for charge staff. For our first aura, we use Ghost Dance. This can be used, you do not have to use Ghost Dance. Instead, if you want, you can use the Evasion aura. They both work fine. I choose this one because preference. Within it, I put Mana Restore support gem for the extra 10 spirit and cooldown recovery. And just to show you how much spirit we're running, we have 159 spirit right now. Mostly the extra is coming from that ring or that amulet I showed you earlier. Just to recap on that, ton of spirit there. Oh, and for the one other important thing, the armor. Make sure you have gain deflect rating on the armor. Big defense boost there. Wonder if I even hovered that armor earlier. Whatever. Next up on the skills list, we have Herald of Thunder. Herald of Thunder, just a nice extra bit of damage to add to the build. Again, we put pinpoint critical on here. We want everything to be critically hitting. We took away the area and put more damage because it doesn't really have area to begin with, in my opinion. Extra lightning damage, more damage, and a level for more damage. That's all we put there. Nothing too special. Next up, we have our cast on critical. So this part is important to the build, to the feel of the build rather. So this will give us a kind of a flicker strike effect, but with all of our skills, instead of just using flicker strike and giving yourself a headache. So here we use lightning warp. Since we're going to be shocking everything around us, even if we do not use our steroid charge staff, the shock effect will still happen because we just have some lightning damage naturally. But yeah, we use this, which will warp us around the map as we're fighting enemies. We give basically anything that will support us generating the energy faster for support gems. So as you can see, we have balanced energy, we have energy retention. We also put encroaching ground because we're going to be making that lightning surface when we land, which will give us more chance to shock more enemies around us, and increase area for the same purpose. That's this one. And our last ability is Tempest Flurry. You can use it, you cannot use it. It just feels cool to use sometimes. Very good for a single target, but our Whirling Assault can also fill that role if you wanted to. For our Tempest Flurry, we use rapid attacks. Basically, a lot of attacks be steroids. So rapid attacks, We have the Rage 3 again for the 15% increased attack. Usually if you're going to be using this one, once you hit that max rage, you want to just drop a bell just to eat those stacks so you can have this attack speed again. We have our pinpoint critical. We have close to combat again, as you're going to be right up on them usually, unless you're using either of the two steroids above, which are our staggering palm or our charge staff. It'll give this skill a ton of range. And then our last up is crescendo. It makes you attack significantly faster, but you repeat that last attack twice. And yeah, so yeah, those are the skills. Again, you can make it one build. You can use all of them. I like to have options. This makes it so that you don't get bored as fast, you know, with a one button build. Just to see, here's our whirling assault. Spam that through the whole map. It'll look better in the map, clearly. Here's our palm. You can spam this through the map. Not a pretty slow attack speed, and this will dash you around. Or, if you're feeling this style, you can go for that. So those are the skills that I use. Next up, we can talk about the skill tree just a bit. I won't go too in depth on that, but yeah. All right. So for the skill tree, let's pull that up. Just give you a brief overview first before we talk about it, so you can see all the nodes if you just want to copy. Alrighty, now let's go into the ascendancy first. So here, as you saw in the skills, we're going down this hollow resonance path. We take hollow resonance technique and all the nodes leading up to it, including hollow focus. We take way of the stone fist for the gloves, and we take way of the mountain, which is the surpassing chance to get mountain teachings. Mountain teachings, basically, you get 30 stacks of these, up to 30 stacks of these, which can be used as either a defensive layer or an offensive layer. The offensive layer gets you 15% more damage on an attack. Defensive makes you take 40% less damage on a hit. We use this because we immobilize quite a bit. And yeah, that's pretty much the reason for that. Now, next up, basically what we do on this tree, we're taking majority of the crit nodes that we see. As you can see, we got this crit cluster here, up here. This is also some crit, but more energy for our meta skill, and this whole crit cluster down here. Now in this section, this is where we get a lot of value, basically. So down here, we're using this Phoenix Spark Time Lost Sapphire Gem. Basically, from this, we want to get increased effect on our notable passives, because we have a lot of notable passives here. And for the small passives I decided to take Energy Shield and some Freeze Build Up. The Freeze Build Up does almost nothing anymore, but yeah, you can use whatever you want here. Just make sure you have the increased effect notable passives. As you can see, what this affects is this node here. We're getting more flat crit. This node here, more crit damage, more crit chance, more greater chance for dazed enemies, more damage against dazed enemies, more damage, just extra physical damage, and fully broken. We also get all the small nodes. So make your small nodes count. As you can see, each one of mine is giving max energy shield. So yeah, all this max energy shield. Cool. That's what we take down here, and we take this defensive set here, and instead of going for the defensive node here for our mask, we take our defenses here, since we're using that unique helmet, basically. And this gives us roughly a similar amount as a hybrid helmet. We take our deflection cluster here, a little bit of damage here, and then the second most important part of the tree, despite the crit, would be these meta nodes. You want these meta nodes to make the warping feel as clean as possible. So I take this cluster here, and the cluster here. This is basically increasing the energy we generate. This one also increases the energy we generate, but this one also gives that crit that we need, and this one makes it so we can trigger twice while generating more energy. Last thing to talk about, we have a gym here where we can go to the unwavering stance, which is way off in the distance elsewhere. And down here we're taking finality just for extra damage on low health guys, and unyielding for some attack speed and reduce of slow potency, since slow potency is so painful this league. We also take this energy cluster here because we struggle with mana. Not really struggle, but you'll be low mana a lot. And yeah, that's a pretty rough overlay of what skill tree looks like. You can run through these nodes yourself, see what each thing is, and modify where needed or wanted. But yeah, that's it for that. Alrighty, so now I will run you guys through a map just so you can see what everything looks like. We have a map here. So we'll run this. Let's go grab some tablets. We'll just use these overseer tablets for now. And yeah, let's do that. So let's just find a fresh map. Boom. Alrighty, let's do it. So I'll try and show off each of the skills that I do use, and then I will clear the map per usual. Just so you can see each one and then everything together. Alrighty, we're in. Alright, first thing I will note. These spells not only serve as a source of damage, but they also serve as a source for your staggering palm to get stacks. And apparently we have the mountain. But yeah, as you can see, we got some of our staggering palm just from hitting the bow. It won't show it stacking right now for some reason, but yeah, it'll show it at least initiating it. But alright, yeah, we'll start with the staggering palm since we already started hitting these spells. This is what that looks like if you're just using it. This is me just holding the button, not doing anything special. Alright, that's staggering palm. Now, just to show off the charge staff, we can add some charge staff to our staggering palm if we just wanted to continue using staggering palm for whatever reason. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Cool. Alright, next skill up, Whirling Assault. Our charge staff is still here, so we'll get the teleporting pretty frequently. And you can see our staggering palm buff is also still applied. So it's kind of a charged up Whirling Assault, but this is what that will look like. Again, I'm just holding it so you can kind of see. Alright, now let's switch over to Tempest. Now Tempest, pretty worthless without any of the buffs, I won't even lie to you, but considering how close you need to get, with this one I recommend always having your charge staff on at least. But when I do want to just run around using this, I tend to run it with the charge staff and at least the staggering palm buff going. I'll show you what that looks like. This is what that looks like. As you can see, each skill, you know, can clear. But each skill also feels very different from the other. Should we just go kill this boss? Yeah, let's go kill the boss. I'll let you see how quickly it can kill a boss. and then we'll run through a little bit more mobs, and yeah, end the video. Alright, so we have no buffs on right now, but if we charge up just a bit, boss is deleted. So, kill bosses fairly quickly. For that combo there, if you didn't get to see it, I basically charged up my bells with the Whirling Assault, which also charges the mantra. Didn't use mantra there though, but charged up the bells. Once it was charged up, you can drop 2 immediately and ignite your charge staff and just spin on top of him, and he'll pretty much die. But yeah, I'll just clear a little bit more of this map per usual without carrying what I use, and yeah, enjoy. As you can see there, I just used the mantra, and that's what the buff will look like. It's a ton of damage. And pretty easy to use in between just doing stuff, you know? Missed a bunch of stuff down here. I think that's pretty much it, guys. So yeah. Oh wait. Yep. So yeah, that's the build. Hope you enjoyed. Leave comments if you have comments. Don't if you don't. And I will see you next time. Ciao.